Hello guys, today we're going to be talking about what you could use Python for, hence the name of the video, what can I use Python for. We're going to quickly dive into the modules, the frameworks that you would need for the different areas of development that you would want to get into. So the thing is, you always think, do I need to learn this programming language? Do I need to learn something else? The thing is, you want to look into the different areas of programming that the programming language can already do and see if it actually fits into what you want to do. So we're going to just quickly dive into what Python could already do. I mean, don't mention all, but it should give you a basic idea of what Python can do right now for you. So we have web scraping and automation. Basically, automating basic tasks you want to do. Web because it has to do with the internet most times. Scraping because it takes information and runs requests from the internet so that you could always have those data you need, such as the weather info and the stock market info you might need to run some certain programs that you want to. So we have modules and frameworks such as Selenium, Scrapy, Request, Beautiful Soup, Pirate GUI, or actually prefer to call it Pirate GUI, but some people call it Auto GUI. We have request double asterisk because that's one of the fundamental things you want to learn when you want to actually get into web scraping and automation. Very important. Teaches you all about HTTP requests, how to use your gets and post. Auto GUI is actually an offline automation module that helps you automate things in your normal Windows device. So we'll go to the next area of development in Python. We have desktop applications. You might be thinking of how you might be able to make applications for desktops devices, for your Windows devices, for your laptops, for your PCs. We have the PyQt5 module for that. We also have the Kiwi module. Kiwi can also be used for mobile devices, but you actually get there in the next slide. Double asterisk because there are so many other modules that you might want to research on that will help you do exactly the same thing. But for now, the best in the market I could recommend for you would be Kiwi and PyQt5. Modules that are very important today when it comes to mobile applications are Kiwi and KiwiMD. These are basically almost the best in the market. There may be other ones that you would want to actually get into, but when it comes to code readability and simplicity, when it comes to how easy the code is, compatibility with both Android devices and iOS devices, in the Python marketplace, KiwiMD and Kiwi actually beats almost every other one in the market. KiwiMD, the MD is for material design, so it actually gives you all the design standards you might need for mobile devices, basically the Google standard for mobile devices. We have web development, and when it comes to web development, sorry, I have to break this to you, but you can't actually do so much on the front end without actually using HTML and CSS. So it's actually very important you actually go back and learn HTML and CSS if you actually want to do web development with Python. You have to have a very good understanding of HTML and CSS for actually coming to web development. So you might have to do so many things on the back end, such as you want to run certain functions, calculations, maybe even your delete button, trying to find how you all work. So that's where Python comes in as the code base for web development, where the whole functionality of your website will be done in the back end with Flask, Django, or Carragel. So Flask is a micro framework, doesn't really do much compared to Django. Carragel helps you keep your HTML and your Python code basically all in one file. But when it comes to how much functionality you could add to a website, Django helps you do so much. So much. So actually, if you want to do so much in web development, learn HTML and CSS, and you want to merge it very well with Django, knowing Flask is actually sometimes also important depending on what you're working on the kind of project you want to run. Moving on to the next area of programming you could use Python for, we have game development. So we have things you call game engines, and nowadays these game engines adapt to different programming languages, so you can make your own games using these game engines. An example of that would be Blender. You could use other programming languages to code on these game engines, but they've been able to add Python as a programming language for you to be able to develop your games in Blender. And we have Pygame. Pygame is basically the game engine for Python developers to make their own games. There are other um, modules and frameworks that you would want to get into if you actually want to get into game development with Python. If you want to stick with Python, there are also other programming languages that are very useful or very vast when it comes to game development, very robust, and maybe more effective when it comes to comparing them with Python. But for now, Blender should be your best bet when it comes to making games with Python. We have data science and machine learning. Everyone knows about the whole hype about artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, statistics. We have Python frameworks, modules for these. We have NumPy, SciPy, Panda, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Scikit-learn or sklearn, just for you to be able to make these models that would try and imitate the human nature, the human behavior, to be able to see how you could do so much, maybe in the market, maybe to try and imitate or to make behaviors that you might actually use to make models for your businesses. So when it comes to data science and machine learning, frameworks and modules that are out there for you are the ones you have here listed. They have their own specific functions. Matplotlib basically tells you about how you can use to plot visualizations for your data. sklearn helps you with the whole machine learning process. NumPy just basically helps you understand the arrays and the matrices you might need to be able to classify your data. And there are so many other areas of Python that you could get into and understand so you could get better in your area. But I think these are the areas of Python that are actually very important these days, and so many people want to learn these, and so many people want to get better at these. So I think these are your best bets when it comes to doing so much in the Python programming language. This should be your best bets. We have so many other areas such as fintech, artificial intelligence, so many other areas. But you might want to settle down, think, what modules can I learn, do some research, and at the end of the day, I'm sure you'll be very fine.